Thank you, sweet ones, beloveds. Miara, thank you for being here with us. We are so excited to be able to connect with you and to really hear from you about what's up in your world and in the world of your womb health and healing. And it's just been such an honor to know you over these years. And this is a real gift to connect. Yeah.
It is. I love you, kid. Thank you for having me and asking me to come. So it was definitely it was a no-brainer. It was definitely a yes for me. I just, even though I was nervous, but yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
1,000 more.
Well, Rach and I were connecting, and something we're really present with in our own journeys is the sort of sweetness of feeling back into how we first found steam. And I'm
Hmm.
wondering if you could remember into that and how and share with us. When did you first learn about steaming?
Oh, when I first learned about steaming was, I think it was, I want to say like 18. Like I heard about it when I went to Atlanta with my best friend, and they have a spa called Jeju or someplace, and they do steaming there. But it was like a whole spa of just for women on one side, and massages, all that kind of stuff. But they was like, it's just something good. It just makes sure your womb and your female parts feel great. I'm like, okay, let me try it. But I didn't really get into it until I met Shawana, and she's telling me that she has some issues when she's having fibroids, and I'm like, I had just found out that I had them, and so she connected me with Kit. And so Kit really just went into depth with letting me know the ins and outs with the steaming, mainly all the benefits of it, and how, because I'm all about natural healing. I'm not all about a whole bunch of whole bunch of Western medicine. I'm not against it, but I'm all for the natural approach. I wanted to do that before, because when I went to the doctor, they said I wanted surgery, they wanted to do a hysterectomy, and I did not want to go that way because I have no children, not married, and I didn't want to just say no. I don't just take it all out right away. But when I first seeing what Kit made me fall in love with it, just knowing, just being knowledgeable about it, and then what it's actually doing, and then incorporating the breath work and being intentional. And she just is her heart. So this just made me like, okay, I did steaming. I liked how it made me feel on the inside. Also, I feel like she let me know I had a lot of trauma that could have contributed to the fibroids. So we were just trying to break through those barriers and those things. She definitely was patient, and so yeah, I was in love with it. I still tell everybody about it, even if you don't have any issues. I feel like it's just a good practice just to have. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
So
beautiful.
your first time was steaming in a spa.
Yes.
Beautiful. You were there with a friend.
So yeah, I was there with two of my friends, and they both, we just was going just to try something new. But I didn't, was one of the friends, she had just did in vitro and had her set of twins because she couldn't get pregnant. They told her she couldn't have kids, so she went that route. And then, but after us doing that visit, my best friend, they both got pregnant. Okay.
Wow.
I said, and they both are married, so I just, I didn't have any. I wasn't with anybody, so I couldn't. But the benefits of it, they were saying like the men love their husbands loved how it felt or whatever. But it really showed that steaming prepares the womb for them to get pregnant when doctors or other people told them that they couldn't get pregnant or have babies. So
That's wild.
yeah, made me a believer.
Yep.
Didn't tell me.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Mm. Okay, so walk me through. That was what year was that? The spa.
The steaming, that was in, hold on, what was that? 'Cause I was locked up. So that was in 18, year eight, yeah, at the spa.
At the spa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got But then I got diagnosed. Well, that's when I did have the surgery, but that's when I got diagnosed in, when was it? I think it was 19 when I got diagnosed with the fibroids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then you and Shawana were speaking and she recommended connecting,
Yes. Yes.
saying that's so beautiful, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
because she was posting on Facebook, and I'm like, and she was, really talking about steaming and the herbs, and I'm like, okay, so I know I went down in Atlanta, but I want to know, like, get more information. And she was like, she's the best, and so she connected me with Kit.
Yeah. And so, and this is something Rachel might not know, but it's cool and something we talk about for a while. But your initial steams were at home with just a steam pot and herbs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's
I
cool.
haven't went back. I haven't been back. I only did my only the first time was at the spa, but I have not done steaming outside of home since I met
Right.
Kit.
So you've been steaming
Mhm.
at home, and though you you were in devotion to the practice before you got a seat, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's something we talk about a lot because it can be understandably a barrier for a number of reasons to have the seat. And though we are a company that sells steam seats, we're such also advocates for. We have this new line, Rachel and I, of like let's get on the pot.
Get on the pot.
Silly because we sell seats. But it's like we just want people steaming. And really that's the root of the seat is because it can be a conduit to help people to steam. But anyway, it's a really nice thing to note that you were doing not just in-home steams, but very regular in-home steams without
Hmm.
and yeah. And were you doing that in child's pose then in your bedroom?
Yes, just like kind of like kneeling on the floor and like on my knees up because I got long legs, so a lot of that ain't that flexible. But I just kind of just kneel over it or squat.
Mhm. Oh, I'm just picturing you too. And I know that at the time, at least, you were living with your sister.
We still do. We still live together. And so I'm trying to get her. She'd be like, I mean, we're twins, we're identical twins. So, she'd be like, I had her to try it one time just so she can see. And then she's so when are you gonna buy that's what she's like, when are you getting your seat? I'm like, okay, I ordered the seat. I was like, I finally got, the money, the funds to get it, so I'm getting my seat. And so she was like, even before me, like, when are you gonna put it together? When are you, so she's definitely seen me do it. And also my niece, my sister has a daughter, she's 7. And so she'd be like, Auntie, what are you doing? What is that? And, just to educate her and showing to her, like, this is what you should do. It's a good thing. It's normal. It helps her out because I know soon she's going to be starting her cycle and learning that it's okay for even just as teenagers, young, they don't have to be on as long, but they can learn how to just sit on there for a little bit and just get the steaming. So I'm excited about just seeing that, just being an example that she can see that.
So beautiful.
Because a lot of people don't know about steaming,
I
and
know.
still to this day. Okay.
This is why we're here. This is why we're here.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Oh, just thank you for talking to your niece and letting that be seen. I mean,
Mhm.
that's really one of the visions I felt into years ago of this being integrated into the home.
Yeah.
Just something that women do in the home and having
Mhm.
children see that and having partners be part of it and and what that would do in terms of elevating womb health is just profoundly um, healing to me
Yeah.
look into that world. So you're
And
doing
even with guys that like I've dated or just even my guy friends, they be like, "What are you doing?" I'm open about it. Like I'm steaming, and they was like, "What is that? What is it?" Like they don't even know. Like I'm curious. What is and they want to know about it. I'm like, okay, and then they're like, I'm about to Google or something. They just getting that conversation started where it's okay, and it's not this. What are you? What? I'll be like, I don't gotta get off the phone, but let me show you. They're like, are you in the bathroom? No, I'm not. I'm in my room. I have a seat here. And I started showing them because they see my gown on or whatever. But yeah, I try to tell any and everybody, I definitely want to be more knowledgeable to educate, but what I do know and what I've learned from kids, yeah. Then I just send them her website. Here's her website. You can't go to anybody getting herbs. Get your herbs from her. We know that works. I trust it. So I just love the kid. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
The best.
It's just
The best.
I'm really grateful for you and your whole journey, and I'm wondering if it feels good and aligned for you to share more about the process that led you to the diagnosis of fibroids, and then also the journey through fibroids, the choice around surgery, recovery, these pieces that I know so many women, I mean, literally millions of women in our country are going through.
Yeah.
And we're really so lucky to be able to share this conversation with
Mhm.
those women and people who love them, because it's a rarity. So thank you. And I would love to hear from you about that.
Absolutely. I've always had painful cycles as a young child. I remember, and I guess because I think I started my cycle in the fifth, sixth grade. And so I remember being that young, spending the night over a friend's house and can't participate, go outside because my cycle is so debilitating. And I'm crying and I'm thinking like, is this, as a kid, I'm thinking like, this is the worst ever. I'm not going to die. That painful. But my mom didn't believe in taking medicine. She just was more like, get a hot towel, go to sleep, I say a prayer and that's it. And so I always had painful cycles leaving school and high school. In middle school, high school had to leave because I'm heavy and I'm just really painful. It wasn't really heavy, it was just always painful. And so Midol and all that stuff didn't work. And then as an adult, I thought it was just normal. As they say, we think that's normal, but it's not normal. What I'm learning now, that's not normal. And so when I found out that I was going to the doctor regularly, I would get my yearly PAP and stuff. And what I was disappointed in was my doctor did not tell me at all once. Not, first of all, she didn't draw any blood or anything. She just would just check me, go in and do examination and be like, good to go. So I didn't know that I ever had fibroids until my stomach was just protruding. Looked like I was like 4 months pregnant. And the gynecologist, it wasn't my gynecologist, I was trying to find another one. And he was like, yeah, they are impressive. So they were so large at this point. And so that's why I was just upset because I'm like, they're so big. And he was giving me no option other than a hysterectomy. So I was just crying because he just was like, I just feel like, what in the world? So that's when I ended up meeting Kit or whatever. So we
How,
was
how,
going.
how old are you again, Miara?
I was diagnosed at 22. So what is this? 25. So that's 3 years ago. I'm 42 now. So I was 30. Was I 39?
Yeah,
I'm
I
math.
said like
And
30.
that had to be hard. Like if you've been going to the doctor regularly and
Mhm.
like doing the things, and
Yes.
then to find out like it was a full-on situation, straight to surgery kind of thing, like that had to be intense.
Start crying like, wait, what? I'm not married. I don't have any kids. What is going on here? I was devastated. So I had a moment. And
Yeah.
then I just told him, I was like, I'm not, I was like, is there any other alternatives? And he was like, yeah, there are other alternatives, but it's not going to be worth your time. That's what he told me. His bedside manner wasn't the best at all. He said, if you want kids, you need to find somebody today. It was just all this it just
Hmm.
it wasn't no compassion, no nothing for anything. So, I was like, meanwhile, he's talking and I see pictures of his whole family on his wall. It's like, sir. So, anyways, that's when I talked to Kit about it just to see my options. And I think, and it helps with the steaming did help absolutely with the blood flow, making sure my blood was red, not to get rid of the stagnated blood. Also with the pain, it wasn't as bad and stuff like that. But at that point, though, I was starting to bleed longer than 7 days. End up getting to 11 days full go. I mean, going through bleeding, going through my clothes, um, getting off work, missing work, or had to leave work. But I just felt like it was just so far gone because they were so massive. And I'm like, because I believe that the steaming totally works. I feel like you can break down, it helps heal, you can release the fibroids. I'm all for, like, I definitely believe that. I just feel like mine were so large. It was connected to my fallopian tube, and I was going to have to get blood transfusions and iron infusions and stuff by that time. So that's when I just went ahead, and I was after, I think we did about a year
Yeah.
with the steaming.
You
And that's when I
were so devotional to it. I mean, it was daily-ish steams for many months
Mhm.
outside of your active bleeding.
Yeah.
And chime in if I'm getting any of this even remotely incorrect, but you were missing a couple of days of work every month.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you were once the
Hmm.
season started. Like it could be like 3 or 4 was down to 1. And then I also then there was this time where the bleed started going beyond that 7 days. And the
Hmm.
effect of that was a huge drop in vitamin D and iron and these other aspects of like we need our blood to be strong. And you were
Hmm.
hospitalized a couple of times, right?
Yes, absolutely. And so that's why that, like, because like before that, it, even though it was so far gone, I think when we first started steaming that whole year, I was better. I had better days. We had wins. We had definitely some wins in there with journaling, things in that nature. So that's why I felt like it was doing good. I don't know what happened where it just fell off because we were steaming. Kit had and suggested me to steam almost daily if I could, if not every day, every other day. So we were steaming pretty often, and so I felt it was good. And I think it was just because it was connected to my fallopian tube, and that was using that as a blood supply. I think I was drained, and I'm self-employed, so if I'm not at work, I ain't making no money. And so it was just like I was in bed for like 2 weeks, at least 2 or 3 weeks out of the month. I only had 1 week where I'm okay. And so I'm like, we can't do this. So that's when I went ahead and looked at options about surgery. And I didn't want to because I've never had surgery before either. So I went and looked for I found a female gynecologist, and she was telling me that I had options where I don't have to get my whole womb taken out. And so I was like, okay, what is it? So she's like, well, we can just go in and just do a myomectomy, in which they just remove the fibroid. And I'm like, okay, I'll go that way. Reluctantly didn't want to, but I'm like, I just feel like my parents were telling me, like, you're pale. You're losing so much blood at this point. We got to do something here. Okay. So that's why I went ahead and did that. And I think when they actually went into surgery, they didn't realize how large they were.
Mhm.
And because the doctor had to take a picture because she's like, because every time I would do what's the thing that they do when they go looking at the baby?
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound.
So when they was doing the ultrasound, the tech, I'd be like, so is there more? How many are there? Have they gotten bigger? And she was not telling me anything. And she would be like, just talk to your doctor. And I'm like, ah, okay. So that's the only thing I just don't be liking. So she didn't really know until we went on in there and how large they were. So, and they all kind of like grew together, and my uterus was pushed to the side. So she's like, we had to remove them, So luckily they removed them. I have all my parts still except for that fallopian tube. I lost one. The recovery was hard, very hard, and it was when I was able to get recovered enough, healed enough, then I did start implementing steaming again. After that, and
Just
so
I honor you
sorry.
so much, Myara. I just honor there's so much to that journey. And I was privileged to connect with you a lot through it. And the consideration you took to making the different decisions. And I really,
Mhm.
I'm emotional because I remember the smile, which you have an incredible smile, but the smile on your face after the surgery and holding gigantic fibroids, orange to like banana. They're not like perfect spheres, right? Like much bigger than either one of us had been led to believe. And it felt like this affirmation of your knowing that in a perfect world you wouldn't have had to have surgery, but that you also were feeling for a while that this was the right option for you at this time. And
Right.
it was such a courageous thing to witness you in the courage of really allowing yourself to not get in this sort of binary dogmatic space of holistic health versus Western medicine and having to sort of override your knowing to stay
Right.
in lane was so beautiful and extraordinary and is what I really hope and hold for us all to be able to allow ourselves, because we have these different options. They can be integrated a lot more than social media lets you think. And you
Right.
kept coming back to yourself and going through the struggle of the disappointment of feeling like, wow, after all of this, I am going to go to surgery. But then also to reflect to you, it was a completely different surgery, a year
Mm-hmm.
later than the one that was being positioned to you as your only option. And to name to you how often I hear that from women, that they are not initially presented with options within surgery. And I don't really understand what's going on here, but the theme is that it's very, in my experience, it feels like there's a commonality to being told at the beginning, just like hysterectomy is the option, on the patient to ask, are there other options? Are
Mm-hmm.
there different surgeries? Are there different ways to incorporate different modalities with surgeries? And so these conversations allow us to witness and celebrate you, and
Mm-hmm.
also plant these seeds for others to have the permission and the encouragement to ask more questions and to take their time in discerning which options from which modalities are going to be in the highest service for them at that time. So
Right.
thank you. Thank you so much.
No, you're so welcome, kid. And I do appreciate for, I feel like I probably wouldn't have been able to come back and have the confidence enough or to even say, is there something else? Or not just only taking that as the only option or what he had told me. And I felt like that because I think I felt like being with you and Salima and the other people that were in the group, that, people share their story, also just being confident who I am and being protective over my womb space and saying I'm gonna choose me first, and just having that, that confidence, I can say, because normally me, sometimes I just shy away and be like, okay, that's what they say then, and I'm like, but no, first of all, it's a man, and I'm not saying all men is horrible. I'm not male bashing, but however, it's just they don't have. Some people may not have that courtesy or that compassion or anything, and so I'm just like, no, I'm empowered. There has to be something else first. That'd be the end all option, okay? But I know there has to be more, and so that's why I feel like being in the group and being with Kit. That's why I'm like. Because it was Kit, when you start, I'm like, I was already tearing up, but I'm trying to be cool right here, doing this. Because those were tough times. And I felt defeated because I felt so connected with you and the steaming and the breath work, and I believed in it, and I still do. But I felt discouraged because I'm like, after all this, we still gotta go through surgery, and that was kind of like defeated. I felt defeated. But also with the breath work, it's still, even though I was defeated, but something in me was still like, well, want to show up, want to show up for myself, want to show up for you guys, and so and for other women, and you was with me, you stuck there with me, and then just having that community also helps, So being knowledgeable and having that community, I think, is just will help change, and I feel like that's what we need to be going towards, anyways, more community. Um, or whatever. So yeah, I think that was hard, kid.
Gosh, yes,
Very,
you're so strong.
very.
open-hearted and yeah, all that.
I know we're speaking to it, but it's like it almost can't be said enough how difficult it is in that moment with the doctor to say no. Like,
Mhm.
no, this is not for me right now. And to really, it just, that level of courage and
Mhm.
self-attunement is huge. And so I just wanted to say it again because it's like, wow, like we can really empower each other to be like, yeah, okay, you're wearing a white coat and you look professional, like you know what you're saying. And like we all together as women can remind each other, yeah, but you don't have to do anything tomorrow. Like you don't have to do anything that doesn't feel
Mhm.
good to you. Like we get to slow down. We
Right.
get to get into community with our sisters and be held and take time. And really, like I admire that so much about your story that you took time and you really like focused on the healing. And then when your body was showing you like, no, it's ready for the next level. And it
Mhm.
was, and there was emotion and it was hard. Like you took that step to take care of yourself
Mhm.
and it was what you needed.
It was. And that's how I tell people, it definitely was something I needed for
Hmm.
sure. But ever since then, okay, let's talk about that. So,
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I just think ever since then, I have not, after like my very first period, my cycle, it was red. It went back to 3 days. Red blood. I'm steaming still. I'm still doing still drinking my teas. Um, and that was another thing I had changed. And I forgot we talk about this, Kit, about because you was encouraging because I don't eat meat. And so she was just like, we're trying to find options of getting that iron. We're trying to get our iron up. And she was like, well, what about getting they got supplements with, organic organs. And I'm like, Kit, I don't know. It's just like, but it's just being open to not having my narrow minded of how I was, my diet or, I don't say it's a diet, it's just my lifestyle. And so it's supposed to just being open with those things, trying to get my iron up and stuff like that. So now my levels are still up. I went to go get the blood work and stuff. Everything is still doing well. Still steaming, still doing my herbs, my teas, and I'm not working out as strenuous. That was another thing Kit was like, just give yourself some rest. My cycles, I don't really want to work for real. I just want to just relax and just like like how women we supposed to be. We supposed to be out here working and stuff when we're releasing and cleansing. So it's just all these things. It just makes me enjoy being a woman and being a female and all the things that comes with it. Just learning so much with Kit from that. And I'm sorry, Kit. I know you talk about me and telling my story, but you are a very big part of this story. And what I got from it is being a part of the circles and the breath work and all those things that have really, really helped me. And it's still afterwards is getting me through it. So yeah, I just had my cycle. I was doing a juicing. I just did a juice, which is a juice cleanse. And so for like a couple of days, like 3 days. And my cycle was during that time. I had no, now mind you, I was taking ibuprofen 800s, 600s before all through the cycle. That's how much I was taking 4 of them a piece. Okay, 4. That's how the pain was bad. So crazy. To where now I don't even take any medicines at all. I just do my teas and I steam. And I don't have my bleed, they're not even heavy at all. I'm not even saturating even a regular pad. It's just the crazy, just the knowing, what I'm saying, of how things, that's not how it's supposed to be. To where now it's like, this is how our cycles, our flows are supposed to be. And so I just feels great. I feel great with it. I'm over the guilt or the shame of feeling like I had to do the surgery. It's just what it was. But I'm incorporating what I believe in what's the steaming, the breath work, the journaling. Um, I'm still doing those practices right to this day. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it, kid. I forgot.
I want to so many beautiful things you dropped that I want to pick up. And one though is because I know this in my body and in my psyche, and I know many millions of women hold this too, but just to drop into the exercising component. Well, that and the animal protein, but let's start with the exercise component, which is that we just are bombarded with exercising and sweat, and there's really some important ways to get the lymphatic system working for fibroids that need to be noted and supported. And what I witnessed and was with you in was just taking that to the extreme of our current cultural moment, which is sometimes we would connect and be like, yeah, so I was on the treadmill for 90 minutes today at like high inclement and like number 9 speed. And I was like, what are you doing? And I'm gonna bleed tomorrow. And I'm just like, oh my God. But like I only knew it because I have done that too. And just collectively in Sisterhood can remind ourselves to slow down. And actually what we need is that like fresh air. And you were in the gym and it was the high intensity, right? And it was like, could we introduce like a 5-minute walk, like out in nature, and really just holding you with so much love through the recognition that that was really hard. That was really hard for your mind to get on board with the slowing down of the gym workouts. And I just thank you for sharing that and allowing me to to reflect.
Yeah, and I just want people to know, like, it's like always, it's not always like, oh, everything she says is goes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you come against, like, no, I don't want to do that. But with the kicking and fighting or the kind of little resistance, you still had grace. And then it's like, okay, we're gonna try it. Let's try it, Maya. Let's see. And trying it wasn't bad. It didn't kill me. I'm still here.
Slowing down.
Right. But
Well,
it's just the greatest of relationships. So
like, it's always the invitation back to self, always. And that does come up with the animal protein and the vegetarianism and veganism. And it's something that comes up for folks on the fibroid journey because there's a lot of information out there directing people toward veganism for fibroid healing. And that, of course, can be the right path for people. Something that really resonates for me is that often what's happening when we step into vegan diets is that we're also letting go of a lot of processed foods. And sometimes it's a little bit hard to discern where the crux of the benefit is coming from. And when there are times where the fibroid journey is feeling a little bit like it's not like there is these massive bleedings from some of the release and from some of the increased days of menstrual cycle bleeds that we're really losing a ton of blood. And we need to be cognizant of that and align and attune to ways to building the blood that feel good. I'm so grateful for you for all of the conversations because we never want to override your inner knowing, right? Like you weren't wanting to introduce certain animal proteins. So that had to be the focal point that then we work on because we're not going to have people feel discomfort, stress in the body as they're then consuming quote unquote the thing, whether it is kale or a hamburger, like it's just like what we have to focus on is like it being the nourishing experience as well as the nourishing thing. And you took such a cool and like open-hearted, centered approach to that. So honoring you with that as well.
You're so sweet about it too. You're like, okay, you never force, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you forcing you just suggest and say, let's try or whatever. So you're so gracious, and that's why I appreciate it too. And I'm like, I would never have met you, kid. And now Rachel, okay, Rachel, you got me, okay? You got me, I'm here.
Yay.
I'm here. But yeah, I just feel like it's definitely, I understand what you were saying. Now I do understand because, of course, when your iron being low, your blood being low, and those things you want to work on. And so I don't label myself as vegan or vegetarian or nothing like that. I just crush a lot on plant-based stuff or just whole food stuff. But like even with the meat substitute that I was, you even said, Myra, let's be mindful of those things. I was, some of the sausages that are plant-based, quote unquote, and that's a lot of play on names, with the industry, but a lot of junk too in those things. So she's like, Myra, just try cutting back on those, just watching those. And even also because I am a hairstylist, Kit suggested the products that I'm touching, the products that I'm inhaling, those type of things all could contribute, that we won't think about what we put on our skin that absorbs through our bloodstream. And so it's just a lot, our female cleansing products. I was telling her my regimen, and she's like, well, why do you need two if you got one? It's just never thought about those things. So definitely being open and honest about your regimen or how you do things, so she can not say diagnose, but so just steer you in a better direction. I feel like some people would just be so tight lipped on stuff. Like, we have to be open to be free, right? We have to open up to release these things. And another one of the nuggets that you said to me, Kit, was that we hold a lot of trauma in our wombs. And so that led me to go into, okay, I need to go into some therapy now, because I did and had experienced a lot of room trauma, or even just trauma out of relationships, just, anything, what I'm saying? And so those things I wanted to be able to release, because I ain't trying to go back there no more. I don't want to have those big, massive fibroids in my womb space anymore, because they said it could come back even after surgery. So I said, okay, well, now I guess I get to start over here now. Now I'm learning, I'm knowing ahead of time. So now I want to keep doing the things. I don't want to go back to doing crap and then the fibroids come all the way back. And then I'm like, kid, we back to square one again. So I'm just doing the things that needs to. So I just encourage people, you're not the only ones. You're not the only person that's experienced. It's a lot more people than you would think that's experiencing what you are going through right now, as far as your womb space and all that down there. So talk about it. Talk about it.
Yeah, again, you just dropped so much.
I'm sorry, kid. Be talking too much.
Oh my gosh, please don't apologize. No, I'm thanking you. Like, it's the depth of your wisdom is profound. And so I'm just taking a moment to sit with it and to feel into which pieces I want to particularly highlight. But I think this notion of you seeing the surgery as a reboot is so powerful. And what's also in my awareness is that there are these moments in Western medicine where we're getting different advice and being told different things, really from a place of that world having some struggle around trusting women. So what comes up is this, we'll just have the hysterectomy because the fibroids could come back anyway, and this way they're gone because the uterus is gone. But and there's some truth to that, right? But what's missing from that is, after you've had a surgery like yours, where the fibroids are removed and maybe pieces of the womb space have been removed for you, the fallopian tube, like, there is still much there to be tended to. And there's this trust and space to deepen into that trust of you caring in ways that are new and that you have expressed and shown action towards such devotion toward, that are really different. And that's why I bring us back to this notion that your niece is just watching you steam. Like, the real hope there, the real reason for that excitement is that she never goes through any of this.
Right.
Her very starting point is you post-surgery. And that she would know in a much earlier piece of the path where things had gone awry.
Right.
Out. Whereas our generation hadn't been told that until, people are at 38, 39 and being like, well, I've come to you every year like you told me to. I've reported to you the pain. You kept telling me it was normal. And now you're telling me that it's so abnormal I need to lose my uterus for it? Like, screw you. It's very, very understandable to have that reaction. And what you're doing is saying, I am going to take the surgery that's most aligned for me. And I am going to continue to take care in the ways that feel good and nourishing, that are trusting and resonant for me. And that's just huge. And it's so easy to see this really being a reboot, a reclamation of your relationship and your deepening through this loving relationship to the womb. And I hadn't known that piece of stepping into therapy, but that is so beautiful. And I'm so excited for
Mhm.
you to see that that is something that brings your face even alive. So just honoring you for taking that leap and for following that thread, because that's really courageous too.
Thanks, kid. Appreciate it. Because it was funny. No, that's funny. Is what you were saying about my niece. She saw when it was to the worst of it. She saw when a big clot fell out on the floor. You know what I'm saying? So she's 7, so she was 5, you know what I'm saying, seeing that. And she's like, Auntie, what is that? You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes we as kids, I mean, when we have children, we try to shun them away of seeing these things or whatever, or just anything that's not quote unquote good. But I'm like, I'm glad she was able to see that. So now I can refer back. Remember, Auntie had that. You remember that clock that fell on the floor? This is why we're steaming. This is why Auntie is doing this. And so I know when she starts her cycles, it's just second nature. And so I'm with you I'm with you, kid, with as far as telling our next generation stuff that our parents, our grandparents didn't. Because then everything was hush. Everything is more private. It was more, I'm like, but we always going through this. All why are we so hush hush on our cycles? Or now next thing is menopause, premenopause, or whatever. These things are taboo. It's like, why? You can't talk about this? No, let's talk about this. So it's just like, I'm with you, kid. I'm with you, friend.
I think it's just so important and good that we're even just waving the flag that's like having such horrible cramps, such
Mhm.
pain in the periods is like not okay and not normal. You know, I also had really painful cycles and
Okay.
it was just like tons of Advil. And for me, when I had that realization and it came over time with various things that there was trauma and the trauma in my womb was potentially connected to that pain, it was like that was a bit of a moment for me. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Because it was like just kind of buried in there, buried in my body, buried in my psyche. And I just feel like it's something, yeah, we could slow down here with knowing that listeners might be experiencing that on some level, like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Or like, oh, what does that even mean? And I do think it is this place that holds a lot for our bodies. You know,
Mhm.
it's kind of this like little empty vessel in there that ends up being where we store things that have happened to us, emotions that we didn't get to feel.
So Rachel, did you, with you having that, like, what was your, I guess, your execution? Like, what did you do? Did you just do theming? Did you have to, like, do any surgeries or anything like that? Yes.
So I haven't had fibroids or I've never been diagnosed with them. I've certainly passed
Okay.
clots and different things, but
Okay.
I had this stretch of years where the pain in my cycle was every month and multiple days and Advil every 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it was a variety of things. It was steaming for sure that helped.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of breath work, a lot of emotional release, and I did a really neat kind of body work called myofascial release
Hmm.
that I think helped. It's kind of, yeah, myofascial release in this process that my healer at the time was doing called unwinding, where like he kind of guided my body to, I would call it like release nervous system charge that was like stored from fight or flight experiences that I'd had in my life, right? That we just kind of like we as humans have kind of tamped down that impulse that
Mhm.
the dog has where it gets up and shakes it all off, right?
Mhm.
So it's like a lot of shaking, I would say, has also kind of helped release what was stored that was causing the pain.
Great. I want to look into that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So powerful. And it's interesting because myofascial release, like definitely look into it, Myara, and let's have a whole nother jam. And it seems like I'm now just sitting with, of course, sort of the siblinghood of myofascial release and steaming. There are the parallels because
Mhm.
myofascial is like very gentle and able to like hold for long periods of time and then really support the release of stored nervous system charge and just seeing the parallels there with steam.
Hmm.
And the repetition of steam in a steam practice when we just return to the pot or the seat and allow that gentleness to hold us and to remind us that in this moment we are safe and held. And then that being the activation of the charge of the trauma being softened so that it can let go. Being one of these aspects of steam that because there's a spiritual component to it. It can sometimes be hard and less accessible to speak to. And so I'm just thankful that we're naming a piece of that here now in that trauma side.
And journaling as well, Mayara, you mentioned was part of your path. I'm curious if you would speak to that some, just like how you used it or how it was supportive.
Okay, so I remember I've always used to journal as a kid. It was initially like I was doing it like as a prayer, like just how I pray, just to pray. But so when the kid suggested to get back to journaling, because I hold things in, and that's clearly why I had a lot of trauma holding that room space. So I would usually journal while I'm steaming. So I would set myself up, have my candle, and I would just write. I could say how my day was. If something that wasn't in line with me for the day, I post that on there. Then I'll say what my wins were. And at that time was my focus was I'm just trying to think positive about my wound and myself, speaking positive affirmations over myself. And I'll just write those things. It wasn't a whole lot of negative. I try to not, if it would probably be very minimal, but then I just try to start speaking well of myself, of my wound space, and things of that nature to uplift and stuff like that. And so it just helped me because I just wasn't, a lot of things I just don't, I mean, talk to people, but just sometimes just sharing things I probably never shared and even just being used to just this whole what I was going through, what my body was going through. I didn't totally understand it and didn't know why. And then I'm like, why am I going through this? But just change it around. You're going through this for somebody else as well. So where I can talk to and share, my experience and then the holistic, natural option that's out there, you know what I'm saying? That's life giving. And so I just felt like the journaling it helps. And I tell any and everybody, I even tell men, I was like, now I know y'all probably think only little girls got them little with the lock and key and maybe a girly thing, but no, we need this. It's so just what the world is going through. It's like so not the best situations happen all around. We need to write and journal. You know what I'm saying? We got mental health on the rise. I just feel like it also helps. And that can help lift everything out of my womb. That's the main thing. Or just out of my life. I just like to be happy. I want to just be smiling. I want to exude great energy with people. And so I don't want to be like, people can feel when my spirit is down. And so I try to just do that because I'm working with the public. I'm working with clients all the time. So I don't want that energy on them or that heaviness. It was definitely a great thing. I would breathe. I would just incorporate all of that breath work before I do the breathing. I'll do the breathing first and then do the writing while I'm steaming. And it's great sleep. Tell me, I'll be like, night, night. Like, it was just great. Kid told me that she was like, "You just gonna have good sleep." I said, "She never lied. That's one thing she never lied about." I steam and it'd be the greatest. I mean, it takes me a long time to go to sleep, a while, but after steaming, it's minutes. So I definitely encourage. I hope I answered your question, Rachel.
Mhm.
I just went around the corner and around and came back about the journaling. But yes, I have like 4 journals. I think at least 4.
Yeah, it's so true because we hold it in and like or we feel like maybe we don't want to put it on someone else and just being in that practice. And I've never tried journaling while steaming. I'm going to tonight. See how that feels. And just having the routine of it, like doing the breath, it starts to down regulate and get you in your body. And then just to be able to be like, I'm gonna get this out. It makes a lot of sense. Feels good.
But it
So,
also, Rachel, it's like with all those incorporated, to me, I get so open to
hmm
hearing, like you could just hear stuff that, because of all the, distractions that's going on around the world and stuff. And in those moments, it's like I can hear clearly or see clearly, I'm at peace as with some things. And it's just like, oh. And so sometimes I just try to recreate it. Sometimes I don't be the best at recreating the atmosphere. I remember one time in particular, we did a breath circle with Kit, and I'm like, that was the first moment I was like, oh my god, how open. Like I was like, what just happened here? It didn't scare me or nothing, but it was just like, wow. So I always be trying to recreate that. And even like today when Kit was leading us into the breathing, I'm like, this is, the guided, that's I guess I'd be needing the guided somebody to help. Because we be by myself, I'd be like my mind going. But it's just you just get into those quiet spaces, man, and it's just you're open and you just can see and feel and hear, and it's just so beautiful. It's just a great moment. And so I would tell everybody to try it. And even if you're skeptic, just be open, because I didn't know, what was to come in the breath circle. I never did breathing, none of that, and it was just so beautiful, especially when you got people that's in good, they got good spirits, and they vibrating on a higher level, and that's where it just makes it all beautiful. So yeah, I'll tell you, try it, and tell me what you think about it too, Rachel, after you do it.
I will.
One additional twiggly, as we call them in Kitara, is actually just to ask you how your dad is doing and if you're open to sharing a bit about his support during your journey.
Oh, I am a daddy's girl, okay? Even though I have a twin sister, we're both daddy's girl, but I think I'm closer because everybody say I'm like him or act like him in a female form. But he was my dad, because he didn't know. First, my dad was the type person I wouldn't call my mom, I would call him to bring me some pads and some clothes. He was the one to come take me to the hospital when I'm at work on the floor, because I couldn't move. And so he's been there throughout the whole, just everything. And so at first I would think he would be grossed out, but no, he's like, I'm trying to learn too. So with all that, he was just very concerned and worried. But he's like, I'm supportive whatever you decide. And so I told him about the natural, the holistic, approach, and he doesn't really understand it. But when I started telling him, he's like, okay, I see. I'm like, Dad. And to be honest, quite frankly, it's a little bit more cheaper than you can paying for the medicine, to be honest. Okay. I said, you just got to be consistent, be more consistent. It's not as instant as you would think, oh, I'm going to take an Advil or a leave. But he was cool with it. He was nervous about the surgery, but him and my sister were there. And he just was like, I just didn't like seeing you like that. He was just so concerned. And he just didn't want me to be in those situations. But today, he's doing good. He's just always telling me, like, I didn't like you like that. I didn't like to see you, very low and on the floor. And, I had to take you to the hospital and you were so weak and things of that nature. But he's good, and now where he's getting older and he's open to hearing, like, okay, Dad, there's herbs for you to take care of this, because initially they want to put you on this medicine. I'm like, so do you want to try? Are you open? So he'd be like, okay, I'll see. He's more open to it. So that's why I just feel like like I said before, what I go through is not only for me, it's for other people or the skeptics, people that be like, let me see how it works for you. But yeah, that's my dad. That's my heart. That's my homie. And he's doing well, kid. Thank you for asking about him. He's all about my niece now, so I'll be kind of a little jealous. But so I told her, I said, that was my dad first.
Oh. Well, yeah, I just invite all of us to feel into if there's anything else that's feeling at this time to be named in query or in statement for witnessing before we close for today?
I did want to ask or share add too. What made me also a believer is not only Kit was facilitating and all of this for her being open and vulnerable, sharing her story, and that also just so where she encouraging us, but she's going through her own thing too, and so just to see the whole turnaround and to see the kids and we're all crying together because that's something she desired and just to see that and to see these two beautiful little people, and I'm like, and I feel so connected being in Ohio, what I'm saying, because
Yeah, I know, because you were a huge part of them. Yeah, because we connected with this other beautiful being, Salima, very regularly as you both were navigating your fibroid journey and I was navigating my fertility journey and
mm-hmm.
holding each other. And I'm so grateful. It was so amazing to receive your love and support.
And just to see how that's what it should show, like you was practicing what you preached, you were doing the things that you were sharing with us and encourage us to do, and then just to see that manifest was so like, oh, I just was like, it just, and then to be with sisters that going through with each other in their moments, and then see the victories out of all of that, it's just I would never forget. And I just appreciate you kids so much. I mean, I'm just like, oh, but you don't understand how the people that you would think that would be there, be so close to you, they weren't. But for you to be there and to share and to be there for me and your spirit, like we have never seen each other in person. I have never touched her physically yet. Yeah, and I know I've been slacking on it. I'm sorry, kid. But I'm just saying it means so much, and it's just I can't really put words into it, but I'm just so appreciative for you, and then your family and the kids, all that. I'm just so appreciative. And so when you add or bring people to my life, like I'm like, all right, Rachel, we cool too. I just want to say thank you so, so much, though, because it made me confident in who I was and who I am as a woman. And, it just getting me closer to even just higher to feel like outside of myself, what I'm saying? Just these different practices that you encourage us. It's not just, oh, this is for the fluke of it. No, it really is. I can carry us to other parts of my life. And so I just want to say thank you, kids. I appreciate you. I love you so much. And I just wanted to add that. And I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'll be crying. I keep crying.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Wow.
Well, I appreciate you both. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for letting me share my story.
Right, you are
So special. It's so good.
special to know you, to be in sisterhood with you, to witness and be witnessed. It's
Mhm.
incredibly healing and beautiful. Thank you.